I am Diana O or Zaza. It's another name that loved ones like to use. And I use they, them pronouns. And I am here being interviewed by Iris.
So for the first question, I was wondering, you work on the gift project in the O Family concert, and that kind of leads into the concert. And I was wondering what inspired you to start the gift project?
For sure. So the gift project actually began as a um, I was first being commissioned by the Public Theater for a mobile unit project, and this was during then the pandemic hit, and so they asked me to transition to a digital piece, and so they asked, okay, so what do you want to, the digital a digital piece to be? Um, and I was brushing my teeth, and then I remember brushing my teeth, and then getting this idea of getting to meet elders, and specifically elders of marginalized experience and identity, because I am a child of immigrants, um, and I feel really connected to that specific generation of people who have moved to this country, and folks of that generation of my parents' age. So meeting folks of that generation, and talking with them and learning about their lives, and then writing them songs as a gift. So that was the idea for the gift project. And then my mom, um, we needed somebody as a to test it on, because jumping in with a stranger would have been like a lot to throw together during the pandemic, because it would have been a lot to organized technically, technologically, logistically, all the things. Obviously, I think we can all relate. We're just like, oh my God, how is this going to work? So I begged my mom to help. And I know that she's really shy about sharing her story, and also showing up on camera and all the things. And so I just told her, like, this won't be shared. It's just for us to learn. It's just for, um, internal use, and la 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 la. So then she agreed to help out, and it just turned out to be this amazing process of interviewing my mom for the gift project. And then, I got to write her this song about her, and for her. And that became one of the songs that was included in this O Family concert that you got to see, that is now included in this All Arts residency concert that you are going to get to see on April 2nd.
And with it about to premiere, I was wondering, reflecting on kind of that journey, do you think your relationship with your mother has changed at all?
10,000%. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 I mean, it was definitely, I'm guessing that you can relate, you
Yeah.
know, with my mom, because there has been this shyness about her sharing what she's been through and her story. And sometimes, when I tried to ask her about um, her past, or just having this fascination of like, okay, but literally, how did you get here? Like, just like walk me through the logistics of, like, how did you get the plane ticket? Just like where did you go to get it? How did you know? How did you know? So, like, what did you didn't have internet, so what is that process? Um and she there's this embarrassment behind, that she would have around, like, who am I, like, why am I so special that you even have these questions for me, and um I think going through this process, she got to I think see that her story really matters, that it wasn't just me, that it wasn't just me being weird, right? It wasn't just me being annoying. It wasn't just like me like being nosy and prodding and like being a stalker, it's like other people also really um adore her and like feel for her um and feel for her generation and feel for um immigrants from South Korea who came over here, and like who are we as these children of immigrants. And um there's kind of been this like this emotional stagnation, I think, between us, like as children and parents. So I think that making this art together with her has forced this communication that hasn't always been there, because there hasn't always been that like space and safety and time to talk. So it created this like the deadlines to talk, the space to talk, the time to talk, the container to talk.
Mm. I
Yeah.
I loved watching kind of moments with your mother. I'm also a second generation Korean American, and my mother is not open about sharing her experiences. And I feel like that's kind of like generational differences where
Mm-hmm.
there's a sense of conservatism with a lot of older generations in the US. And we've sort of began unboxing that. And you create
Mm-hmm.
spaces for marginalized communities to really bring out their voices and speak about issues that might not always be accepted. I was wondering what it's like for you as being kind of that outspoken person in your community or family and taking on that role.
um wow, I just, yeah, I hearing you ask that question and even recognizing that is really it's so healing for you to even recognize that, for you to even know that is a question. So that in itself is already this is already such a big deal to even be asked. That is definitely part of the answer, um, because it is holding. That is what being a Korean American is. I think that's the difference between being, Korean and being American American, is you're combining all the swirls that are you and like all the cultures that are you, and trying to make sense of like, okay, you know, I do feel like I have a lot of questions, and I do feel like I want more, and I do feel like I'm like jumping out of my skin literally. And um and it can be scary. You can feel really alone if you don't find other people who are
Mhm.
also on the same search. uh so thankfully, I think that's thankfully other artists feel the same way. But I think I would have felt really alone if I hadn't found other creatives, other people like you who also know to ask questions. Because it's just the hunger to ask questions, I think.
And I feel like we all have outlets where we can express like these emotions. And for you, it's music. And I think your music is just
Mm,
so passionate, even the way you perform it. I had such a
mm,
wonderful time watching it. It was so freeing, I would say.
mm.
Wondering like what led to you discovering music and discovering that it could be a way for you to communicate and express all of these emotions that might not have an outlet anywhere else.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's so great that you had that reaction. I'm very touched that you felt something, because that's the other part of it as a creative. It's like you never know how it's gonna land, right? You're just like making because you have to, because it's like coming out of it and you're like, it's got to go somewhere, you know. Um, so I try to keep the channels open. And I think music is one of the things that I do. And it's something that really, really matters to me a lot. Um, and the singing, the voice, like my father used to be a singer, so that I think that came from him, and music was something we always shared together. You know, it's something he always exposed me to. Um, and I'm like the instrument playing, you know, I play by ear. Like I don't sight read. I don't know how to notate or anything. Like everything is just like by, you know, by ear, learn by ear, sing by ear, play by ear, all the things. Um, so it's a very like visceral, intuitive process of doing things, which I need. I actually need like I need a simple process, like a simple art making process in my life when things can get so cerebral and so complicated. So it's nice to have something that feels really like soulful, you know, something that feels really like earthy and that feels like in the body and feels very like personal. And so I've always appreciated that about music making. Um, and my mom actually had this amazing conversation, and I wish we had filmed it, but of course, like if we had filmed it, the conversation wouldn't have happened. You know, after um, it was it was after the gift project concert, and it was after O Family concert. It was like after this whole year that we had together, and we were going for a walk, my mom and I together alone, through Central Park. And she was like, you know, I identify as they, them and queer and all that, you know, and she knows that, and she's still learning what that all means. And she was talking about my voice, my singing voice, and she was like, you know, your singing voice, like it's not really male, it's not really female, it's not really man, it's not really woman, you know. And I was like, yeah, I feel that when I'm singing, you know, and I feel that sometimes when I'm living, you know. And she was like, you know, that's actually a lot of, you know, Korean shamans, they identify that way. That's actually very Korean,
Uh-huh.
you know. And it was just this cool, like it was the we just talked about queerness and like transness, you know. It was just this like very casual, cool conversation. um and it was something that like only art could have gotten us to talk about so easily, you know. um yeah, and now she's learning Jangu now. She's like yeah, yeah. And she's like gone into her own creative journey of like picking up the drums and letting herself play. And yeah.
Oh my, that's so wonderful to hear. I used to learn dango when I was younger, and
Yeah.
it was so fun. I mean, I love hearing about like social constructs, and obviously these are
Mm,
constructions that have been
mm,
enforced on a lot of us. And it's not
mm,
always easy to go through the process of like breaking down those thoughts and then building them back again in a way that
mm,
are able to, you know, go away from binaries. And it's so
mm,
cool hearing about, you know, your mother being taking that step and kind of being open to those ideas, because I know not everyone is always open to them. And
yeah.
as someone who is going through that experience with your mother, do you find yourself like looking back on your own journey when it came to discovering who you are more than just a person that is defined by certain words?
Um, can you ask me that question again? Or yeah,
Yeah.
say say it again. Yeah, yeah. What?
I guess watching your mother kind of go through the experience of learning about queerness and
Yeah,
like preventing or stopping the internalization of like social
yeah.
constructs such as gender. Do you like how has that impacted your formation of your identity while watching your mother go through that as well?
Uh-huh. Right, right, right. Um, I think it felt like a spiritual journey for sure,
Mhm.
because definitely going on the generational journey with her, because it's holding that space with her and then with her grandchildren. And my father's passed away. I'm thinking about my brothers, as well. And my brothers and I have a very special relationship because we'll only ever know what our childhood was. We have that special
Mhm.
bond, siblings have that particular um experience of like we'll only ever know what our childhood was in that intimate way, so that's its own like zoom 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 like portal, like time machine, um identity exploration. And it's just this constant like seeing these moments of like um oh, like when did the queerness happen, and it's just like, oh, okay, right, it was always there. Okay, got it, got that. Okay, so when did the like spiritual shit start happening? It was like, okay, right, that was always there too, and um what I really appreciated about uh this like this formation chapter was seeing my mom, like seeing her formation, like it somehow made me feel less siloed. Like it made me feel like, okay, it comes from somewhere, like she has it in her, and it's really emotional to see it live within my mom, because I don't think she ever gave herself, I don't think she ever had the permission to go there, to like let herself have um an identity like that.
I mean,
um yeah.
when listening to your songs, one lyric that really stood out to me was, I'm holding on too much. Won't you dream with me for a while? Can I ask you about that specific lyric and song, if it's comfortable with you?
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking. This is making me realize how starved I was to talk about this with an Asian American person. I'm like getting emotional because I haven't gotten to like unpack any of this with like an Asian American interviewer, to be like, okay, right, this is like really deep, this isn't just um la 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 cute songs, this deep stuff. The I'm holding on too much is I felt like growing up, um I was always watching my parents hold on to way too much. I mean, my mom to this day um holds on to so much at all times, right? It's like survive no matter what, that immigrant mentality of like work 5 times harder. outwork anybody. Like, what is sleep? What is rest? What is self-care? What is,
Yeah.
she got, she, she got, she's going to get a physical for the first time in her life, like next month. And
Mhm.
it is like her going to the spa. I'm like, oh my God, it is a huge deal, and that is a breakthrough. That is like, yes,
Mhm.
that is like, you got this. Um, and I'm constantly learning, and now that I'm in this like adult relationship and seeing how other people live, it's kind of this like, oh wow, oh you don't, oh you eat like 3 regular meals. What? Okay, got it. And it's just kind of this like, whoa. Okay. um I'm able to see just how much my mom
Mhm.
held to like keep the family alive, because she survived this war. She knew no other way. She moved to a new country, you know. Um, and I just want to see her like relax. Just want to see her relax. And that's all we've ever wanted for her.
Yeah. I I mean, I don't know what to say. I feel like what you're saying is such an experience that I think I just started recognizing with my
Mm,
relationship with my mother as well. And I honestly can't wait to show her this when it comes out. It's just, there are so many unsaid hardships that I feel like immigrant parents have to go through. And like looking at what they've lived through, I feel so privileged, but so thankful at the same time that I've, been part of their family and that they chose to have me when they did. Um,
mm,
and this is another additional question about your song, but you also sing about in this song dedicated to your father, you're running
mm,
to run to what you're running from.
mm.
And could you elaborate on that as well? I love that. So,
um yeah, that lyric actually that came out of a collaboration from my collaborator Matt Park and myself. Matt Park is Hapa. He's half Korean and half white American. And so we we're just awesome collaborators, and whenever we get together we write music so fast. It's just like, it's always just this like cosmic spiritual experience. My mom recognizes like the shamanism in Matt, which is like the specific Korean shamanism in him, and that's really really cool. And she recognizes it in me, and that's really cool that she like can see it. And um, so that lyric, I don't really even, I can't answer it. I
mhm.
actually can't. I've never really been able to like, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
Just one
I
of,
don't know how it ended up being a song about my dad. It just, it was like, I remember it was like, it was just like somehow, you know what? It was like when the chanting part comes in,
mhm.
that's when it became this like, whoa, this has become a spell. This has become a ritual. This has become something else where I feel like I'm reaching for something. And I think it wasn't until, no, I think it was even before that, but um, uh, it was before that. It was before my father passed away that we would sing it to like reach the Korean ancestors. But it was, we sang that song exactly 1 week after my father passed away, after my father's service.
Mhm.
Um, and Matt and I don't know, we just like felt him. We always feel him. We always feel some type of way whenever we sing that song together. It's always some type of way. Um, and the process of it, I mean, I remember we were like riding together and like Matt had like I'm being shy about it because I don't want to throw Matt under the bus, but like the off the record story is that Matt like brought in this lyric and this like melody, and I was like, oh God. And I was like, let me just like change it in I liked, and I was like, this could be better. And then it became this, and um but I don't think it could have happened didn't if we didn't have the Korean American in common. It couldn't be what it is without that.
Looking back on everything that has gone into the O Family Project, the all arts artists in residence, what has this experience been like for you?
um Awesome. I feel so lucky. I feel like someone paid me to go on a journey. I feel like somebody it feels so magical to be chosen. um Period. Like, it's so, what a fortunate experience. And it's all that's all an artist could ever want, is to just be like, say something. Here you go, here's like space, deadline, support, um to say something. And this got to be the year I got to spend, and so I just feel so, I mean, it's like every single word is gonna be so diminishing of like what this year got to be. Um, I think like the journey would have happened inevitably somehow, some way. I just think it would have probably taken like 35 years, but it got to happen like within this, tight amount of time, and so many other people got to be involved in it. And um it got to be captured before anybody got too sick and old and dead. It's like okay, cool, great, yay. Um, yeah, so I feel like, uh, yeah, and there's always this like, why? I wonder, like, how did they know? How did they know who to pick? You know, who was playing God at that moment?
Mhm.
That they're right. These four. What is it to you about the run to what you're running from lyric for you that you were like drawn to it?
I I think I always have difficulty fully confronting a lot of internal issues or issues with my family. And
Mm,
at the same time, I feel like I'm always
mm,
running out of time. And, I'm in college right now, and I want to make a good future for both myself and my parents. And
mm,
as you mentioned before, what I do want them to do is just relax and enjoy life with me.
mm,
At the same time, there's like so much to do constantly. There's like schoolwork and then there's work afterwards. And I think I'm always running towards something. I just don't know what it is just quite yet. And
mm.
that lyric just really, when I was listening to it, like just hit me at that
Yeah,
moment, I think.
yeah, yeah. I think Matt helps me do that. I think that that's something we help each other do as like collaborators, and especially also as like Korean American friends to each other. We help each other confront like, oh, that's painful. Like, oh no, that's too hard. It's like, yeah, we have to, yeah, like hold it in some way, and like look at it in the face and cry and
Yeah,
figure out.
I think it's just knowing that it's going to hurt and it might not, the conclusion might not be what I desired is what scares me the most. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's hard. That's like, yeah, that's why we have to meditate every day because it's hard.
Yeah. This is the final question, but where
Mhm.
can audiences who are now getting to know you connect with you, and where can they look forward to more of your art in the future?
Yeah. Um, uh, Instagram is about all I can handle. And sometimes I'll even disappear off of that. But oh yeah, Diana. That's OHYEADIANA. Oh yeah, Diana. And my website is ohyeahdiana.com. My dog is professional lap dog on Instagram. He's here in his pineapple. This is
Oh,
Shovel. You see
oh,
him?
hello. That's adorable.
um,
His little pineapple.
or
Oh my goodness, that's so cute. Hello.
um, I live in a warehouse in Red Hook. I really want this to be a sanctuary for people to come to and get weird and express themselves and feel their feelings and other projects. A project about depression I'm working on right now called Depression Box, which I'm hoping to do in museums. That involves music and installation. So yeah, that's where to find me. Track me down. Track me down. Tell me your feelings. I love feelings.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with NextShark and me, and thank you for releasing all this wonderful material for us to just dive into. I'm so excited.
Hey Iris, thanks. Thank you for taking it in.